When a woman is protected from evil, it shows, not in loud declarations, but in the quiet strength she carries. She walks through life with a kind of peace that doesn't make sense to the world around her. It's not that she never faces hardship or betrayal. She does. But somehow, what was meant to break her only builds her. There's a calm in her eyes that speaks of battles fought in silence and victories handed to her by grace alone. A woman protected from evil carries something that can't be faked, a deep, unshakable sense of inner peace. It's not the kind of peace that comes from everything going right, but the kind that shows up when everything is going wrong. And she still stands. Her strength doesn't come from being untouched by pain or betrayal. In fact, she's likely seen her share of both. But she's learned something powerful through those storms. That real peace isn't the absence of chaos, it's the presence of something stronger within her. This peace is quiet but commanding. It doesn't need to shout to prove itself. It shows up in how she walks into a room, how she speaks, how she chooses not to react to every insult or challenge. It's not that she doesn't feel anger or disappointment. She does. But she has learned to master her emotions instead of letting them master her. She doesn't give away her power to people who try to provoke her. That self-control is a reflection of her inner strength. She knows who she is, and more importantly, she knows who she is. There are moments when life throws storms her way. Sudden betrayals, unexpected losses, moments where it feels like the ground is falling out from under her. And yet she doesn't collapse. She may cry, she may hurt, but she doesn't lose herself. There is a kind of foundation in her that keeps her grounded no matter what's happening around her. It's not arrogance or pride, it's faith. It's knowing that she is not alone, that there's a force greater than any problem walking beside her, ahead of her, and behind her. Even when others expect her to fall apart, she chooses peace. It's not an easy choice. It's one that's made over and over, especially in moments when anger or fear would be easier. But she knows that peace is her power. It allows her to think clearly, speak wisely, and act with grace. It gives her the ability to walk away from what doesn't serve her without bitterness, to release people without resentment, and to continue her journey without the weight of unnecessary baggage. Her strength isn't always loud. She doesn't always have to push or demand or fight to prove her worth. It's in the way she endures, in the way she quietly rebuilds after being torn down. It's in her refusal to let pain define her, and in her decision to love anyway, to love herself, to love others, and to keep her heart open even after it's been broken. That kind of strength isn't taught. It's formed in the fire of life's hardest moments. And it's evidence that she is divinely protected. She doesn't look for validation from the world. She knows that external approval is fleeting. Instead, she draws from a well within, a deep source of truth that reminds her she is valuable, chosen, and covered. This is why evil doesn't stick to her. It may come close, it may try to shake her, but it cannot get inside her spirit. Her peace is a shield, and her strength is a weapon. She doesn't just survive hard things, she rises through them with dignity. People may not always understand her calm in the middle of chaos. They might think she's too quiet, too soft, too forgiving. But they don't see the war she's already won within herself. She doesn't need to shout about it. Her life speaks for her, and when evil comes looking for a place to land, it finds no opening in her. She is at peace, and that peace is protected. Spiritual discernment is one of the clearest signs that a woman is protected from evil. It's not just intelligence or instinct. It's something deeper, something that comes from within and above. It allows her to see beyond appearances, to sense what is not being said, and to pick up on the spiritual atmosphere around her. While others may be easily fooled by smooth words or attractive facades, she can feel when something is off. It's not about suspicion or fear, it's about clarity. She knows what peace feels like, and anything that disturbs that peace gets her attention immediately. This kind of discernment often shows up in subtle ways. She may walk into a room and instantly feel the tension no one is talking about. She may meet someone, and even if everything looks right on the surface, her spirit won't settle. She doesn't need dramatic proof to trust her intuition. Over time, she's learned that ignoring that inner voice leads to pain, while listening to it, even when it doesn't make sense, leads to protection. This voice has helped her avoid relationships that would have drained her, deals that would have broken her, and people who smiled while secretly wishing her harm. Discernment doesn't make her paranoid. It makes her wise. She doesn't look for evil in everyone, but she doesn't ignore red flags either. She doesn't allow charm to blind her to character. She pays attention to consistency, to energy, to the way people treat others when no one is watching. And when her spirit gives her a warning, she listens, not because she's judging, but because she understands the value of her peace, her time, and her purpose. She's not afraid to walk away from situations that don't align with her spirit, even if it means standing alone for a season. There have likely been times when she didn't understand why she felt uneasy about someone or something. Others may have questioned her decisions or told her she was overthinking. But later, the truth always revealed itself. And with every confirmation, her trust in her spiritual discernment grew stronger. This trust becomes a kind of armor. It keeps her from getting entangled with people who wear masks. It helps her avoid emotional traps that look like love, and opportunities that look like blessings but are really distractions. Her discernment is often quiet. She doesn't always explain what she feels or why she's stepping away. She doesn't owe anyone an explanation when her spirit is unsettled. She has learned that peace is reason enough. Some may call it mysterious, others may not understand, but she's not living for their understanding. She's living in alignment with the covering that protects her. This spiritual gift also gives her insight into timing. She knows when to speak and when to stay silent, when to move and when to wait. She's not easily pressured or manipulated because her guidance doesn't come from outside voices. It comes from a deeper place. It's why she often avoids chaos that others walk straight into. While they are distracted by surface appearances, she's guided by truth that lies beneath. Discernment doesn't mean she's perfect. She still makes mistakes, still learns lessons. But even in her missteps, there is grace. Her spirit always finds a way back to center, always leads her away from what isn't meant for her. This sensitivity, this divine insight, is one of her greatest protections. It doesn't just keep her from harm, it keeps her on course. It keeps her spirit light, her mind clear, and her life aligned. And no matter how much darkness tries to disguise itself, it cannot deceive a woman who sees with more than just her eyes. Forgiveness is one of the most powerful choices a woman can make, and when she is protected from evil, she learns to see forgiveness not as a weakness, but as a form of freedom. It's not about forgetting what happened or pretending the pain wasn't real. It's not about letting others off the hook or denying the damage they caused. It's about releasing the grip that pain has on her soul. She forgives because holding on to anger doesn't serve her healing. She chooses peace over revenge, not because she didn't hurt, but because she refuses to let that hurt define her. There are moments when betrayal cuts deep. People she trusted let her down. Words that were supposed to build her up ended up tearing her apart. Injustice may have followed her in ways that felt unfair and undeserved. But even in all that, something within her rises and says, I will not carry this. She may grieve. She may cry for days. She may wrestle with bitterness and the desire to make others feel what they made her feel. But eventually, she reaches a point where she realizes that clinging to the pain is only chaining her to the past, and she wants more for herself. Forgiveness doesn't mean reconnection. It doesn't always lead to restored relationships. Sometimes it's simply a quiet decision made in the heart, to let go, to stop replaying the offense, to stop waiting for an apology that may never come, to stop letting the past steal the joy from the present. She understands that forgiveness is not a favor to the other person. It's a gift to herself. It's the moment she says, you no longer have power over my emotions, my energy, or my future. When a woman walks in this kind of forgiveness, her spirit becomes lighter. She doesn't have to carry the weight of resentment or the burden of keeping score. She makes room for joy, for clarity, for love. People may wonder how she can be so calm after what she went through, how she can speak kindly of someone who wronged her, or how she can smile again after being broken. What they don't realize is that her freedom didn't come from what happened. It came from how she responded to it. She made a decision not to let evil stay in her story longer than it had to. Forgiveness doesn't make her naive, it makes her strong. It takes courage to release pain. It takes maturity to move forward without needing to see someone else suffer. It takes wisdom to understand that justice isn't always immediate or visible, but that peace is worth more than revenge. She doesn't excuse bad behavior or pretend toxic people were good, but she also doesn't let bitterness build a home in her heart. She clears the space, not just for herself, but for what's next, for the healing, the growth, the love that deserves a place in her life. Over time, this practice of forgiveness becomes a lifestyle. She gets better at identifying what's worth her energy. She doesn't waste time nursing wounds that can be closed. She doesn't let anger control her decisions. She may still feel the sting of old wounds, but they don't bleed anymore. She's not a prisoner to her past. She's not stuck in a loop of hurt and blame. She has chosen freedom, and that choice makes her dangerous to evil, because nothing confuses darkness more than a woman who refuses to be hardened by pain. Nothing disarms cruelty more than kindness that comes from strength, and nothing protects her more than the peace she guards by choosing to forgive again and again. Trusting in divine timing is one of the most difficult, yet most liberating choices a woman can make. It requires patience, humility, and faith, especially in a world that constantly pushes her to move faster, to chase what she wants, and to never be still. But when a woman is protected from evil, she learns that not everything good is meant for now, and not every delay is a denial. She begins to see that sometimes the doors that don't open are just as important as the ones that do. She doesn't fight to force her way into what's not hers. She waits, not passively, but with purpose. Waiting in divine timing doesn't mean sitting still and doing nothing. It means living fully where she is, while trusting that what is meant for her will meet her in its appointed season. It means not comparing her journey to others, even when it looks like everyone else is ahead. She knows that her path is unique and that the pace of her life isn't random, it's intentional. Every pause, every detour, every unanswered prayer has a reason behind it, even if she doesn't understand it yet. That kind of trust frees her from anxiety and striving. She doesn't have to hustle for what's already hers by divine design. There are times when she wants something so badly, an opportunity, a relationship, a resolution, and it feels like the universe is silent. She may question the timing, wonder if she's doing something wrong, or feel forgotten, but in those moments she chooses to surrender. She lets go of her timeline and embraces the process. She doesn't stop hoping, but she stops forcing. And in doing so, she aligns herself with a rhythm that is higher and wiser than her own understanding. Often, the greatest clarity comes after the wait. Looking back, she sees why certain things didn't happen when she wanted them to. She realizes that she wasn't ready, or that what she was asking for would have led her into something harmful. She sees how divine timing protected her from unnecessary pain and disappointment. What felt like rejection was actually redirection. What felt like loss was preparation. And with that insight, her trust deepens. She becomes more peaceful in the waiting, more content in the now, and more confident in what's to come. This trust also gives her discernment in decision making. She doesn't rush into things out of fear of missing out. She understands that if something is truly meant for her, it will not require her to compromise her values, her peace, or her worth. She lets time reveal truth. She listens to the signs, to the silence, and to the still, small voice within her. That voice reminds her that everything she needs will come, not a moment too soon or too late. When others are in a hurry, she remains steady. When people question why she hasn't taken certain steps or made certain moves, she doesn't feel pressured to explain. She's not trying to meet anyone else's timeline. She knows that divine timing isn't always logical or convenient, but it is always right. And because she trusts it, she stays covered. She avoids relationships, deals, and paths that would have cost her more than they were worth. She doesn't waste energy chasing what isn't aligned. Instead, she waits for alignment to find her. There is power in her patience. It's not passive, but purposeful. Every season she endures is shaping her, strengthening her, and preparing her for what's ahead. And when the right moment comes, she doesn't have to chase it. It will meet her because she trusted. That kind of faith makes her unshakable, because a woman who trusts in divine timing walks not in fear, but in quiet confidence that everything is unfolding exactly as it should. Integrity and grace are two of the most defining qualities of a woman who is protected from evil. They shape how she lives, how she speaks, how she treats others, and how she responds when no one is watching. She does not perform goodness for attention or approval. She lives it because it is who she is. Her integrity is not situational, it's consistent. Whether she's in the spotlight or in silence, her choices are guided by truth, by values she refuses to compromise, and by a deep desire to honor what is right, even when it's hard. There are moments when it would be easier to take the shortcut, to lie to protect her image, or to betray someone's trust for her own gain. But she doesn't. Not because she's afraid of being caught, but because her soul would feel the cost. She knows that real peace doesn't come from getting ahead by any means necessary. It comes from knowing that her actions align with her beliefs. She chooses honesty over comfort, faithfulness over convenience, and character over applause. And because of that, her life may look slower, less glamorous, or more difficult at times. But it is solid, it is real, it is protected. Grace is the other side of her strength. It's not just about being polite or soft-spoken. It's about how she handles people, especially in their worst moments. She doesn't respond to cruelty with cruelty. She doesn't match disrespect with disrespect. She knows who she is, and that knowledge allows her to rise above the chaos. When someone tries to pull her into drama or provoke her, she doesn't always respond. Not because she's weak, but because she understands that every battle isn't worth her energy. She chooses her peace over her pride, her dignity over revenge. Her grace is not just for strangers or acquaintances. It's also for those closest to her. She forgives mistakes. She gives second chances, not carelessly, but thoughtfully. She speaks truth with compassion. She sets boundaries with kindness. She leads with love even when she has every reason not to. That doesn't mean she allows herself to be walked over. She knows when to walk away, when to say no, and when to protect her space. But she does it without bitterness. She does it with grace. This combination of integrity and grace makes her different. It draws people to her, even those who don't fully understand her. She becomes a safe place, someone others trust, not because she's perfect, but because she's consistent. Her words match her action. Her promises mean something. Her presence brings calm. People may not always agree with her or understand her decisions, but they know she's sincere. She doesn't manipulate, exaggerate, or pretend. She shows up as herself, genuine, grounded, and full of purpose. Even in difficult moments, when she's hurt, betrayed, or under pressure, she doesn't let the situation change her core. She may feel the pain deeply, but she doesn't let it harden her. She holds onto her values, even when it costs her. And somehow, that faithfulness to herself and to what's right becomes her protection. It keeps her clear, headed when others are lost in confusion. It keeps her path straight when others wander, and it draws favor to her life in unexpected ways. A woman like this may not always be praised. She may be overlooked in a world that often rewards the loudest, the flashiest, or the most ruthless. but her impact runs deep. Her influence is lasting. And in the end, she stands tall, not because she climbed over others to get ahead, but because she built her life on a foundation that cannot be shaken. Integrity and grace don't just guide her, they shield her. They mark her as someone covered, someone led, someone protected from the evil that never quite finds a way in. There are battles in life that cannot be avoided. Some come without warning, shaking everything that felt secure. Others come slowly, building over time, testing patience and faith. But when a woman is protected from evil, something extraordinary happens. She doesn't have to fight every battle alone. There is a covering over her life, a quiet shield that goes before her, behind her, and surrounds her, often in ways she doesn't see until later. This divine protection doesn't mean she never faces conflict or hardship. It means that when she does, the outcome is not left to chance. Some battles never even reach her. They dissolve before they can do real damage. Things that were meant to harm her fall apart in the shadows. People with wrong intentions are exposed without her having to dig or defend herself. Opportunities that could have been traps close gently, sparing her from unseen pain. She doesn't always understand it in the moment, but time reveals that what felt like loss or rejection was actually protection. What felt like delay was preparation. What felt like silence was divine strategy unfolding in perfect timing. When the conflict does reach her, she doesn't fight the same way others do. She doesn't rely on manipulation, harsh words, or retaliation to win. She carries herself with strength, yes, but also with trust. She knows when to speak and when to be silent. She knows when to act and when to wait. Her responses aren't fueled by fear or desperation, but by wisdom and peace. Even in intense situations, she doesn't lose herself. She knows that some victories come not from swinging harder, but from standing still and letting the battle pass over her without touching her spirit. There are moments when she feels overwhelmed, unsure, and weary. But even then, she is not without help. Her prayers become weapons, her faith becomes armor, and her patience becomes a position of power. She knows that sometimes the fight isn't hers to win, it belongs to a force greater than her. And in that surrender, she finds safety. She doesn't have to chase justice or force outcomes. She is covered. She is seen. She is defended in ways that go beyond human effort. Others may try to harm her, speak against her, or undermine her, but they rarely succeed. Their efforts lose momentum. Their schemes unravel. Not because she fights harder, but because truth stands on her side. Light surrounds her, exposing lies and protecting her peace. Even when she's misunderstood or falsely accused, she keeps her heart soft and her conscience clear. She doesn't need to argue with those committed to misunderstanding her. Her life, her consistency, and her quiet strength speak louder than anything she could say. Over time, this divine protection becomes a part of her identity. She walks with quiet confidence, knowing that whatever comes, she is not unguarded. Her steps are ordered. Her battles are not random. Even the hardest seasons are allowed for a reason, and none of them are wasted. Each trial reveals something new: her resilience, her growth, her ability to endure without becoming bitter. Each victory, whether seen or unseen, confirms that she is not walking through life unprotected. This is why she has peace even in chaos. This is why she doesn't panic when things don't go as planned. She trusts the covering that has carried her through every storm before. She knows that battles will come, but she also knows who stands with her. And that knowledge is her greatest strength, because a woman protected in battle is a woman who cannot be destroyed, not because she never gets wounded, but because she always heals stronger, wiser, and more deeply rooted in her purpose. A woman protected from evil carries something sacred within her, a quiet strength shaped by pain, refined by wisdom, and guided by faith. Her peace is not an accident. Her discernment is not luck. Her forgiveness is not weakness. Her patience is not passivity. Her integrity is not performance. Her grace is not naivety, and the battles she overcomes are not won by her alone. She walks with divine covering, unseen yet undeniable. It shields her, guides her, and shapes her into someone who doesn't just survive the darkness but rises above it. The signs of her protection are not loud, but they are clear to anyone who looks closely. She is not untouchable, but she is unshakable, and that is the mark of someone whose life is not just lived, but guarded, guided, and deeply known by something far greater than herself.